How are you seeing the feedback on the kind of separate videos that you do?
It's been about the same. I mean, you get basically the same thing I've been getting the whole time since the beginning. It stayed the same, which I'm happy with. I mean, if it increases, of course, that's better.
Yeah, the more videos you put out there, and then I think some of the subjects are not often searched. Well, you won't find that many videos with these kind of subjects, maybe in English. So,
no.
If someone has a particular question, then that, inshallah, will pop up. So,
No.
And you got your fancy signs.
Changed everything up here, huh?
Ya Rab, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. How far away is Andalus from you?
About 15 minutes or so.
Where is it? What's it close to? I don't think I've ever been there.
Yeah, you've been there. It's basically on the other side of, like on the same side of the fifth ring as Avenues, and just about 2 exits down.
Oh, okay, cool. I went up and yesterday I went out to my car and tried to start the engine. It was like roll. I was like, oh man, every 2 or 3 years my battery goes. Every single car I've ever had in Kuwait because of the heat.
Yeah, same thing here.
2 years and subhanAllah, it was two months out of warranty. If I'd have gone there 2 months earlier, I would have got a free battery. Qadar-Allah mashfa'al.
No. Alhamdulillah.
They give you like a 3-year warranty when you buy it. So.
No.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, we've only replaced 1 or 2 batteries inside the warranty, but we've replaced on 2 cars. Man, we've probably replaced, man, in 10 years we've been here, probably 10 batteries, man.
Yeah. It's the heat is hard on the batteries.
No, especially if you travel outside of the country for a few months and come back, it hasn't been started at all. You can almost guarantee you need a new battery.
Yes, 100%. Especially most of last year, my car was just sitting outside the house anyway, so I wasn't really going around that much because of the corona stuff. Just give me a sec here. Good. Where's Abu Muawiyah gone? He's back again.
Yeah.
Where'd you go, man?
I don't know, man. I accidentally hit the wrong button. You hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah. I put my little thing up there for a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'm fixing myself, man.
MashaAllah, since I did that little discussion on blogging theology, my YouTube went crazy, man. MashaAllah.
Yeah, I saw you had 1,100 and something the other day. I said, MashaAllah.
Yeah, man. When do you get the ability to do, what do you call it, community posts? It still hasn't turned on yet.
I thought you always got that. I don't know, but I know it's 1,000 videos. I know it's 1,000 subscribers for lives.
Yeah, mashallah, man. You get more and more weirdos commenting on my stuff.
Inshallah, nabda, huh?
Inshallah, bismillah.
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, amma ba'du. And we're back here reading Islamic Fatawa regarding the Muslim child. And as always, I'm your host, Abu Muawiyah Mustafa Nicholas, and we have with us Abu Yusuf Abdur-Rahim Roberts. MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum. Barakallahu feek.
We were just talking before we started how his YouTube channel is growing up, or it's blowing up. And down here below in the ticker, you can find him on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and others. Inshallah ta'ala. So visit his channel, subscribe, and benefit from the brother. Bi'idhnillah.
Inshallah, ya Rabb.
Today, inshallah, we're going to speak about naming one's child and the Akika. Some of the names that we'll be discussing are the questions that were asked to the ulama were about having the name Iman or Abdur-Rasool or Abdul-Muhsin or Aashiqullaah or Muhammadullaah or Muhibbullah, also like Taha, Yaa-Seen, and others. And then we'll get into the section on the Aqeeqah. What is the Akika, and is it obligatory or just Sunnah, and when should it be done? So these are some of the topics, inshallah, we hope to discuss today. And as always, if you have any comments, then just type them in and we'll see them and we can throw them up on the screen. And if we have the ability to answer or address them, then we will, inshallah ta'ala. And as always, if you're watching this after the live, then we appreciate any subscription that you might have to our channel, as well as liking the video and sharing it with your family and friends. Leave us a comment, even if you see a mistake or something, a correction or a concern, a suggestion, then feel free to put it in the comments, inshallah ta'ala. Our first question today by Yusuf.
So question 30. Wow, 30 questions already, mashallah. What is the ruling of naming with the name Iman?
Now, what is the ruling of naming someone Iman? This answer, or this question, was asked to Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. He said that the name Iman carries a type of self-recommendation, self-purification. And that is why it is not befitting that one should be named by it. The Prophet ﷺ changed the name Barra, the pious or the dutiful, to because it implies self-praise. Barra. I said Barra. Barra. He changed the name Barra because it implies a self-praise. Those addressed in this manner are the guardians who name their children with such names. As for those names that are merely names and no self-praise is understood from them, then there is no harm in naming by them. That is why we name with such names such as Saleh and Ali, because they are merely names that carry no self-purifying overtones. And that was Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen's answer.
SubhanAllah, that's interesting. I know a few people called Iman, actually.
No. I'm going to try to find, I believe I'm going to try to look it up. I should have done it ahead of time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I believe there's a hadith about this directly. Now, the Sheikh could have just answered it quickly and just, you know, as the Mashayikh, they always take into the situation of the questioner. And so, he might have just answered them quickly like this. But I believe there's a hadith. And I wanted to say it was in Sahih Muslim, but for some reason I'm not finding it. Let me see. If I type this in, Hukm, Iman.
It's interesting that they put that in the book, though. That must have been one that they wanted people to know about. So,
no doubt, definitely. I believe there's a hadith which says to not do it. Okay, It says this is in Sahih Muslim from Muhammad ibn Amr ibn Atta. He said, "Sammaytu ibnati Barra, فقالت لي زينب بنت أبي سلمة إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى عن هذا الاسم." The Prophet ﷺ prohibited us. He said, I named my daughter Barra. And she said, Zainab said, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ prohibited us from this name. وَسَمَّيْتُ Barra. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So I was named, or my daughter was named Barra. So the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, لا تزكوا أنفسكم. Do not praise yourselves. الله أعلم بأهل البر منكم. Allah knows those who are righteous from amongst you. فقال بما نسميها. But then what should we call her? He said, سموها Zainab. Name her Zainab.
That reminds me of another. I don't know. It's about praising yourself, but about praising other people. One of the, when you come across these hadith and you've never heard them before, and you're like, oh, wow, this was an example of one of those hadith. So I can't remember the hadith, but the general idea is you should never say so and so is good, he's good, or she is good. You should always say, I think that person is good, because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. So I remember when I saw that hadith or read that hadith, I was like, subhanallah. And I try to catch myself whenever I do it. When someone at work, they ask you about a certain person, you say, to the best of my knowledge, that person is good, and I've never seen anything bad from them. And you kind of just stop there, instead of saying, I know that person to be a good person. We shouldn't say that, because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows,
Now, a lot of times you'll find when the mashayikh or some of the brothers, when they talk about someone, when they're asked about someone, or when they mention them, they say, وَلَا نُزَكِّي عَلَى اللَّهِ أَحَدٍ. Right? وَنُحَاسِبُهُ كَذَلِكَ. We see him like this. We guesstimate, or we estimate that he's like this. وَلَا نُزَكِّي عَلَى اللَّهِ أَحَدٍ. We don't praise anyone in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And
there was that beautiful interview, one of those beautiful durus with Sheikh Al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala, where one of the brothers was praising him, and he started crying and saying, if you knew me, you wouldn't say this, you wouldn't want to be with me. SubhanAllah. Just makes you wonder, if the Sheikh Al-Albani is saying this about himself, what about the rest of us,
No.
Understand.
Yeah, I remember a hadith, and maybe someone from the comments or someone can do it. I'll look it up, inshallah ta'ala, for next week. But I remember there being a hadith, and I thought it was with the name Iman, but I'm not finding it. But it said, do not name with the name of Iman or something like this, for it is feared that someone will come and knock on the door and say, is Iman there? And you'll say, no, Iman is not here.
Oh, interesting.
No. But let me see. Anyway,
now I'm going to search it as well while you're.
I don't see it.
No.
But give us 1 second. We apologize, everybody, but we're trying to find it. If we can't, then we'll look for it and either throw it in the comments, or we'll discuss it next week, inshallah ta'ala. Anyway, I don't see it, but there's something to that effect, I believe, and it's related to this. Maybe it's not a hadith, maybe it's from one of the Sahaba or something, but I thought it was a hadith in Sahih Muslim, but I could be mistaken. I mean, the two places I found, and a couple Fatawa that I got from Bin Baz and Uthaymin, and other than them, they didn't mention it. And you would almost see that somebody would mention it, right? But in one of them
here mentioning Ibn al-Qayyim said one of the things that is not allowed is to name a child with one of the names of the Quran or its surahs, such as Taha, Yaa-Seen, and Hamim. End quote.
That's one of our quotes. That's one of our questions today.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh man, sorry, bro.
No problem. Inshallah, we'll find it. But I believe it may be a statement from one of the scholars of the ulama, but I thought it was a hadith. But inshallah, we'll find it. We'll address it next week, unless someone from the viewers wants to share that with us. Jazakumullah khairan. We'll move on.
That's a good one. Okay, we hear that some people have named their children by Abdur-Rasool, Abdun-Nabiy, or Abdul-Muhsin.
No.
What is your advice?
No, this was asked by Sheikh Ibn. This was answered. It It was asked to and answered by Shaykh ibn Baz, rahimahullah. He said, it is not permissible to subjoin abd with other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm, the famous Imam, he stated, the scholars are in agreement. They have an ijma' that every name in which abd is subjoined to other than Allah is forbidden, such as Abdul Amaru, Abdul Kaaba, and such similar names, except Abdul-Muttalib. The end of Ibn Hazm's quote. Bin Baz continues, so it is not permissible in naming to subjoin abd with other than Allah, such as Abdun-Nabiy or Abdul-Ali or Abdul-Hussein or Abdul-Hassan. As for Abdul-Muhsin, then there is no harm in naming by it, because Al-Muhsin is one of the names of Allah, glory be to him, the Most High. The most beloved names to Allah are Abdullah and Abdur-Rahman, and the most truthful names are Harith and Hammam. And it is narrated upon the Ibn Umar that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the most beautiful names to Allah are Abdullah and Abdur-Rahman. This was narrated by Muslim, Abu Dawood, and At-Tirmidhi. And in the narration of At-Tabarani, it is reported from Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the most beloved names to Allah are those in which abd is subjoined to his name, and the most truthful of names are Hammam and Harith. The end of his answer.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this last week. I mean, I've come across quite a few people either called Abdur-Rasool or Abdun-Nabiy, or as we mentioned, Abdur-Turab or something like that, or it's been in their name somewhere, subhanAllah.
No. What's interesting out of here is they included Abdul-Muhsin, which is not from it, right?
Yeah, I was...
And what's interesting, though, is that this is a thought amongst many people. And one of Sheikh Abdur-Razak's, Sheikh Abdur-Razak al-Badr, one of his early works is the, and I'm not translating the title exactly, but the legitimacy or the permissibility of naming someone Abdul-Muhsin, right? And it's really nice because it's kind of like in service to his father, because his father's Abdul-Muhsin, you know?
Okay.
SubhanAllah. So he wrote a book showing how this name is a permissible name, mashallah.
MashaAllah.
So you see the ulama giving service to their teachers, and his first teacher is his father, mashallah.
SubhanAllah.
So maybe Yusuf will one day write a book about permissibility of keeping your family the last name Roberts or something, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah ta'ala.
Make them from our ulama.
Ameen وأيضا معاوية إن شاء الله. So 32. Many people are called Aashiqullaah, lover of Allah, Muhammadullaah, praiser of Allah, and Muhibbullaah, loved one of Allah. Is it permissible or not to name by such names?
This was asked to the permit committee, and there's a quick answer. It said it is bad manners to name someone Aashiqullaah, while there is no harm in Muhammadullah or Muhibbullah, but it is better to avoid them and to choose a name of Allah subjoined with Abd, or choose names such as Muhammad, Saleh, Ahmed, etc. So they said, "Fi tasmiyah to be Aashiqullaah siwa adab or su'u adab." It's su'u adab to have su'u adab, bad manners to have this type of name, to name with this, not to have this type of name, but to name with this type of name. Muhibbullah. You Sheikh Al-Albani, this is separate from here, but Sheikh Al-Albani and other than them, they used to not allow, his name, they call him Muhammad Nasiruddin. So you can't join anything like that, Nasiruddin, Taqiyuddin, like this. It's not permissible to have these types of names. It goes back to the praise, who's the, An-Nawawi, what was his nickname? His nickname was, subhanAllah, escapes me right now. What was Nawawi's nickname?
Let me see if it's
Sharafuddin.
Sharafuddin?
Yeah, he said, whoever names me, whoever calls me by this nickname, then I don't forgive him. On Day of Judgment, I won't forgive him.
Harsh.
No.
Harsh. Oh. Yeah.
The next question, inshallah.
So, next one. Is it permissible for a Muslim to be named by the following names? Taha, Yaa-Seen, Khabbaab, Abdul-Muttalib, Al-Hebbaab, Qaaroon or Al-Waleed?
Now, this question was answered by Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, it is permissible to name with these names due to the lack of evidence prohibiting this. However, it is better for the believer to choose the best of names that consist of Abd subjoined to one of the names of Allah, such as Abdullah, Abdur-Rahman, Abdul-Malik, and those similar to them, and the widespread names such as Salih, Muhammad, etc., instead of Qaaroon and the likes. As for Abdul-Muttalib, it is permissible to name by it as an exception because the Prophet ﷺ permitted it for some of his companions. Otherwise, it is not permissible to subjoin Abd with other than Allah, no matter who, such as Abdun-Nabiy, Abdul-Muhsin, Abdul-Ka'bah, or similar. Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm has narrated a consensus from the scholars regarding the illegality of this. Taha and Yaa-Seen are not from the names of the Prophet ﷺ, according to the more correct opinion of the scholars. Rather, they are from the individual letters that are at the beginning of certain surahs of the Quran, such as Surah Al-Sad, Surah Al-Qaf, Surah Al-Nun, and other such surahs, and the success is with Allah.
Interesting. Do you know what the meaning of Muttalib? Do you know what the meaning of Muttalib is? I'm not sure what it is. You mentioned this one last week, like Abdul-Muttalib, and I was like thinking, what is the meaning of the name? But I forgot to look it up.
Well, for sure, it's not one of Allah's names, right?
So, hey, definitely.
Let's see here.
Interesting.
What does it mean linguistically? تعريف بمعنى المطلب في معجم المعاني الجامع معجم عربي الطلب. No, that's not it. تنفيذ أمثال مصطلحات الشرط يقضي بالطلب. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, though. There's a lot of things to look for and search through to find it.
Yes.
Here we go.
So we need to find out about Iman and Abdul-Muttalib.
No. Al-Muttalib marra ba'da marra. One who's basically searching time after time. Al-Kathir al-Talab. Looking a lot. Right? SubhanAllah. Because وَإِذَا عُرِّفَ, this is definitely, Allahu Alam, not true. Allahu Alam. It says, إِذَا عُرِّفَ, meaning if you put alif lam on it, صَارَ مِنْ أَسْمَاءِ اللَّهِ الْحُسْنَى. Abdul-Muttalib, Abdun-Nabiy, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's true. But he says it becomes one of the names of Allah. Is it? Mumkin. I've never heard anybody say that, though. But the meaning here, it says the kathir al-talab. Kathir al-talab, the looking and searching for a lot. Right? And Allah knows best, but we'll ask, inshallah.
Interesting.
It comes from, it's got to be from root,
Talaba.
It's got to be from talaba, root 3 of talaba, ta, lam, ba, form 3, right? Form 3 means to demand or to claim or to call back or to return for the restitution of something, to demand, to claim, to continue like this. So maybe to continue to demand one after another. Yeah. So Al-Muttalib would be the one who does so a lot.
This is your, maybe part of your PhD thesis.
No. MashaAllah. Khabbaab, I never heard the name Khabbaab. Qaaroon, I would be scared to name my child Qaaroon just because that's the bad guy in the time of Musa, you know?
Khabbaab, I'm not sure. No, I've never heard of that myself.
Al-Waleed. Al-Waleed, that's simple. Khalid ibn Walid, why not? Allahu Alam. The next one.
So, what is the meaning of the Aqeeqah of the newborn, and is it obligatory or Sunnah?
Now we've entered into the chapter or dealing with the Akika. This answer by Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen about the meaning of the Akika and is it obligatory or Sunnah. He says the Akika of the newborn is the sacrificial animal that is sacrificed seeking the pleasure of Allah, the most honorable and majestic, and thanking Him for the blessing of a child on the 7th day after its birth. The scholars have differed as to whether it is Sunnah or obligatory. Most of the scholars have stated that it is Sunnah Mu'akkada, emphasized Sunnah. Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah, he says he borrows money and performs the Aqeeqah. So Imam Ahmed said you should even borrow if you need to. That is to say, the one who has no money borrows it to cover the cost of the Aqeeqah, and Allah will replace it for him because he is reviving a Sunnah. As for his saying, may Allah have mercy upon him, he borrows. What is meant is borrowing is for the one who expects that he can settle this debt in the future. As for the one who has no hope for this, then it is not befitting that he borrow to perform the Aqeeqah. So this is evidence from Imam Ahmed indicating that it is Sunnah Mu'akkada, and it is so. A person should sacrifice 2 animals for a male and 1 for a female on the 7th day. He should eat, give gifts, and donate from it, and there is no harm in that, nor is there any harm in inviting his relatives and neighbors to partake of it as a cooked meal.
I remember for Ibrahim, for my last, I remember we had 2. I slaughtered 2, and I made like a mistake. I remember asking the brother. He said, "Do you want big ones or small ones?" I said, "I just what do you think?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's up to you, man." I was like, "Okay, get big ones just in case." And then I tried my best to invite as many people as I could, and like about 20 people turned up, alhamdulillah, but we didn't even make a dent, in in these 2 massive, animals. So subhanallah, I made a miscalculation there. But anyway, I think a lot of some brothers came afterwards and took it to pieces. But that was my last one. I was worried I was going to waste it, but because I couldn't have taken it home. Subhanallah. But then you see some people with hundreds of people turning up. Subhanallah.
Yeah, when Muawiyah was born, subhanallah. When Muawiyah was born, now I just go back for a second. When I got married, we went and slaughtered that next morning, and we had the walima the next night, time around Isha, and then the next morning, me and the brother went to go slaughter, and then that night, we had the walima, and we put everything on these big sahun, like they do here in Kuwait, these big plates. And I said, man, everybody's going to eat on the floor together, man. We're not doing a buffet style. We're going to put these plates out. And we had enough for we slaughtered 3 animals. So we had enough for about 6-7 plates on the men's side. And we stacked this food up there, man. I put the first one out, and it was just like 3 or 4 brothers helping me make everything. And I put the first one out, nobody was there. The second one out, nobody's there. Third one out, nobody. When I got to the last one, I was like, man, nobody's coming, man. What am I going to do? I turned around, man, and there was like 100, 200 people waiting at the door to get in, man. SubhanAllah. But then when Muawiyah was born, I was kind of worried about the same thing like you, not having enough or, or having too much, not people coming. And it must have been 500-600 people show up. SubhanAllah, man. 500 or 600 people, man. It was a lot of people. In fact, we had just opened the masjid not too long before that. And the owner of the building came. She's a non-Muslim, she came and was on the women's side. And she sent me a text message later on, and she was like, "You guys, when you throw a party, you throw a party, huh? If you want to buy the building, I'm selling it for this much." And from then, ever since then, I mean, we had just started renting the building. We had just got into it. Ever since then, my wheels were turning. Like, how can we buy a building? How can we get this? And we're still struggling today, mashallah. Waco Bear.
I'm going to have to just give me 1 second, Muawiyah. I've got like some emergency in front of me. Please forgive me.
No problem.
Muawiyah and everyone. Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. I do apologize for this.
No problem.
I'm going to have to run.
No problem. Waco Bear says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We say, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the meantime, we'll continue reading, inshallah. Question number 35. I did not sacrifice any animals at the birth of my children due to the fact that I could not afford it. What is the ruling concerning this? This was answered by Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. He said, there is nothing upon you as you were unable to perform this act. For Allah the Most High says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you are able to do. He also says, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. Allah does not burden a person beyond his capability. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, what means, and if I order you to do something, then perform of it what you are capable of. So if a person is poor at the time of the birth of his children, then there is no sacrifice incumbent upon him because he is unable, as there is an exemption from the rituals for the unable. We can see in this fatwa, Allah knows best, that the rulings of Islam are not rigid, they are not unbearable as some people might claim. Rather, these rulings of Islam are merciful for us, and Allah is merciful upon us when we are not able to fulfill them. So in this question, the person wasn't able to sacrifice for the Akika of his children. And so the Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he told them that they were removed from this burden because Allah doesn't burden a person beyond their capability, and we are commanded to do as much as we're able to do. So we see the mercy in the religion of Islam, and we see the mercy of the ulama, that they didn't tell them, no, you have to go borrow, or you are sinning and your child is in danger, until so on and so forth. Rather, the mercy of Islam is apparent in this fatwa.
Sorry for that, Muawiyah.
No, that's ahlan wa sahlan. We were just reading fatwa about a person who was not able to make the Aqeeqah. They didn't have the money. They couldn't afford it. So what's the ruling? Sheikh said there's nothing upon you. Excuse me. There's nothing upon you. The exemption for rituals. There's an exemption for the rituals for those unable. Like the one who is unable to pray, standing up, you can sit down. Like the one who's not able to make a ghusl, he can make tayammum. You know, so the rulings of Islam are very, although they have some rigidity to them, at the same time there's flexibility when there needs to be. And so they teach us to hold ourselves accountable, while at the same time, if we're not able to, there's a mercy for us.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
No. Next question, and this will be the last one for today. We'll keep it short if possible.
Okay. Is the time spent for the Aqiqah a week or two?
Or
is the time spent or 21 days, as is mentioned? So, for example, is it permissible to sacrifice the Aqiqah on the 9th or 10th day?
No, this is Sheikh Uthaymeen dealing with it, and the answer again is quick. He says it is best to perform it on the 7th day, as is mentioned in the hadith. If that is missed, then the scholars have stated that it should be performed on the 14th day. If that is also missed, then on the 21st day. After this, weeks are not considered. This is according to most preferred. For if it is sacrificed on the 6th, the 5th, 10th, or 15th day, then there is no blame upon that person. But the Sunnah,
Alhamdulillah.
that's at the end of his answer. There's no blame on that person. But the Sunnah for us is what we understand here. The Sunnah is you should do it on the 7th day. And then the scholars have made their understanding the 14th or the 21st, so on and so forth.
Alhamdulillah. So it's like flexibility in the system, subhanAllah.
He even says if it's done on the 6th or the 5th or the 10th or 15th, there's no blame. No.
Alhamdulillah.
And this would go to support the fact that it's a sunnah mu'akkadah, that it's a recommended sunnah, and not something that is necessarily obligatory, because we know obligatory acts need to be performed in their proper time. Something that's strictly obligatory.
SubhanAllah.
Inshallah, with that, we'll conclude for today. Abu Yusuf, if you have any closing remarks?
Khalas, that's the book finished?
No, but I just try to keep it around 7 or 8 questions every day. You want to do more? We'll do some more.
Okay. What's the next section? Just out of interest.
It's still in Akika. The next question is performing the Akika for a miscarried fetus.
Interesting. Okay.
You want to take it or no?
Yeah, why not, man? We're only half an hour in, so we can do one. Let's do one more if you.
No,
unless
no
you don't have it ready.
No, it's right here in front of me. No problem. I just have to read it for you. That's all.
Go.
It says
interested to know.
A child of mine was born stillborn, or it was stillborn through natural birth during the 7th month and 8th day. Do the rulings of a normal child apply to him? This was answered by Sheikh Uthaymeen. He said, yes, the correct opinion is that if a fetus is born after 4 months, then the ruling of a live child apply to it. Rather, it is alive because when 4 months have passed after its conception, the soul is blown into it. So if a miscarriage occurs after this, the fetus is to be washed, shrouded, prayed upon, and buried in the graveyard of the Muslims. The scholars state it should be named. If it is known that it is a male, it is given a male name. If it is known that it is a female, it's given a female name. If its gender is unknown, then it is given a name that suits both sexes, such as Muhibbullaah or similar to that. Based on this, an Aqeeqah is to be performed for it because it will be gathered on the day of resurrection.
That's how many months old, brother? 4 months.
After 4 months, then all of the rulings of a live child are applied to a stillborn fetus.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, I know a brother that well, I'm sure there's plenty of people. May Allah, be pleased with all of them and give them sabr. So I know a lot of brothers that this has happened to, especially one here. And yeah, it was tough on him because I remember him telling me we had to actually, now that you've said that, it reminds me, we had to go through the whole thing of, burying the child and naming the child and, the Aqiqah, everything, subhanAllah.
No.
Tough, but may Allah bless these people with patience and reward them.
Ameen. It reminds me of a hadith I was reading the other day where the Prophet ﷺ was asked by one of the women when they came and said, the men have taken all your hadith. So a point for us today that we come to you and learn what Allah taught you. So the Prophet ﷺ gave them a day and a time, and he came to them and he would teach them from whatever Allah taught him. So one of the women said, so the Prophet ﷺ said to the women, if no woman whose three children pass away before him or before her, except that this will be a hijab for her from the fire. And then the woman said, and two, and she kept repeating it until the Prophet ﷺ, and two, and two, and two. And this is a wallahi, it's a sad situation. Of course, nobody wants their children to pass away, and no one wants that to happen to anyone's children or anything. But wallahi, it could be that Allah has decreed for us a great thing for it, that He's created them to stand at the gates of paradise, arguing for us to get let in until Allah lets us in. Subhanallah.
This is another thing which I often find non-Muslims, asking questions about, what about, how is it that, people are born disabled and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, exactly like you just said, Muawiyah, it may be that when we reach the day of judgment, we'll be wishing that we were in that state in the dunya so that we could be in their state in the akhirah. Who knows?
No. Because they'll be perfect in the akhirah.
And that will be that is like that's the life, that's the real life, that's the everlasting life, as opposed to this one, which is just, it seems like a long time at the time, but it's just
in al-hayat al-akhirah. Indeed, the life is the life of the hereafter. That's the real life.
Subhanallah.
And when you think about the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, if you're going to use your eyes for what Allah does not approve of you looking at,
please him, yeah.
It would be better for you to be blind. If you're going to listen with your ears, you're going to listen with your ears to what you shouldn't listen to, it would be better for you to be deaf.
Yeah, there's some beautiful examples I've seen a few children from Saudiya, like hufadh of the Quran, and they're blind,
No.
And there's one really emotional it's very difficult to watch it without becoming emotional. The child says, alhamdulillah, I'm happy, I've memorized the Quran, and I'm here in the land of the Muslims, and I'll see Allah's face on the day of judgment, inshallah. That's what I'm looking forward to. I don't need to see anything in the dunya. I just want to see Allah's face on the day of judgment. SubhanAllah. It's difficult to listen to that, that child without. SubhanAllah.
When we're so frustrated about simple matters that really don't count in the big scheme of things, and we get frustrated, and here is, he's been tested with his two beloved ones, as the Prophet ﷺ called them. Someone born blind, he's tested with his two beloved ones, and here he is patient. And sometimes we're not patient with minuscule matters.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic case of if you look at people that have been through, even non-Muslims, people that have been through serious trials, and they come out the other side, they're often thankful for those trials, to be honest. Some people, they'll get depressed, but most often you'll find people being thankful, saying, wow, I came out of the other end of cancer, or I came out of the other end of this, or a car accident, or whatever, and I'm, I've seen people that have been badly burnt in car accidents and things like that, and they're like, if this didn't happen to me, then this wouldn't have happened to me. And subhanAllah, man, it's amazing, it's amazing. Even non-Muslims.
I'll tell you, one of the most he still has an effect, man. He's still giving dawah, as far as I know, is that, I'm sure you've seen it some years ago, that one guy who is in a wheelchair, and he talked about his mom, out of the three things he wished he could do. He wished he could turn a page of the Mus'haf. He wished he could hug his mom. I don't remember the third one. Maybe it was make sajda or something, SubhanAllah, he breaks your heart, man, but you see his after that, his good attitude even after that,
was that the one where he was talking about, like, my mother he was talking about the
she has to clean
how much our mothers love us. Like she literally had to, Allah kind of removed the contents of his bowels for him every day and stuff like this, because he wasn't able to do it himself. And he said, if I did, who would do this for you except your mother?
No.
SubhanAllah.
May Allah guide our parents who are still alive, and and bring it to Islam, man.
Ameen, Ya Rabb.
No.
Ameen.
Well, we cut it a little short today, but no problem, inshallah ta'ala. Next week we'll be back, and after the Akika and dealing with some questions on the Akika, we will move to the section on purification for children. What about if a child urinates on your clothing, a young child, or bathing your children? Does that cause your wudu to break because you have to touch your children's private parts? What about, does the sun clean, if you were to dry your clothes after, say, the kid peed on it and it dried up from the sun? Is this a purification, or would you still have to wash it? And so on and so forth. Many signs of puberty, the ruling on circumcision, and so on. We'll get to those, inshallah. Maybe some of these will be a little more interesting for some of our viewers, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah, it's all interesting, inshallah.
Naam, it benefits me. I benefit from it all the time. And inshallah, it'll be, like we said, something in our scales in the hereafter, inshallah ta'ala.
Ya Rabb, inshallah. But it's interesting that when you want to know about something and you can find an answer to it, it's very useful. And so, inshallah, this will be something that people find useful.
And those who don't read or don't have access to the book, then they'll find it useful, inshallah. Tomorrow, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, at 4 p.m. Kuwait time, Mecca time, we're going to begin a study of the Quran word for word with some grammar benefits and brief tafsir benefits. And Sheikh Ahmed Hoja is going to be with us, inshallah, live at 4 p.m.
MashaAllah, Tabarak Rahman.
No.
MashaAllah, Sheikh.
So we're going to start that on Yawm al-Ahad, every Yawm al-Ahad, inshallah, at 4 p.m. We're going to be live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter in order to go over the Quran word for word. Inshallah, I figure in America, that'll be 8, 9 a.m., 7, 8, 9 a.m. So while all the non-Muslims are worshiping the creation, we'll be studying the Creator's word.
Allah musta'an. Allah musta'an.
Wallahi, Sheikh Salam used to tell us all the time when we would be in these lessons, he would say, man, it's Friday night. Everybody else is out doing what? Sheikh Abu Salah, he would say it many times too. It's Friday night, it's Thursday night, it's Saturday night. Everybody else is out doing what? You guys are the chosen ones on the face of the earth right now. These circles of gathering, which are few really in number, you guys are the chosen ones on the face of the earth. That you guys are the ones worshiping Allah while everybody else is in Diwaniya, drinking tea, watching soccer, talking about politics or whatever they're doing. And here you are studying Islam. Likewise,
forget the guys in the Diwaniya drinking tea, man. What about in Europe and the US?
Right, exactly.
In the summertime in
the
UK,
chosen
man,
amongst the chosen.
Yeah.
The chosen amongst the chosen.
Subhanallah, sah. Like, because in summertime in the UK, Isha time is like between Maghrib and Isha. This is like when the pubs are full, and then Isha time is when the pubs close and the clubs open. So this is subhanallah. If you're in a gathering and the angels are there observing you and taking your name up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, it's just a very good point.
Yeah.
Subhanallah.
So likewise,
now, this is why I remember, just before we go, I was telling a brother the other day in an Arabic class, I said, man, sometimes it's so frustrating, because I remember I used to go to sit with Sheikh Salim Tawil, Hafidahullah, in his classes, and we did this book, this one here. Let me just get it. Yeah, this one. Sawa'iq al-Mursala. And still to this day, I think if I read this, I wouldn't have a clue what it was saying. This was like 10 years ago. I was lost, man. I just bought all the books because I was excited. yeah, I'm going to go and sit in it. And I remember at the end of the dars, every single time I used to go, Alhamdulillah, at least I was sitting in a halaqah of knowledge, you know, of ilm. Inshallah, at the least, the malaika wrote my name down as sitting down for the whole thing, even if I didn't understand much of it. So this is, you know, subhanAllah. It's there's a lot of fawaid of doing these things, you know.
No. But the good thing is just like the poetry. It's just like the poetry. That book, if you were to sit down and maybe try to read it, you may not understand it. But if you were to follow along with an explanation or be in a dars, the sheikh's explanation would make the text clear. So then if you went back and read it, you would be able to do so.
Maybe, yeah. I haven't actually tried to read this for about 5 years, so maybe I should give it a try again.
Give it a try along with some lessons.
But first, I need to translate this.
No. When I see you, inshallah, if I see you tomorrow, man, when you call me, remind me to give you a copy of this.
Abdur-Rasool. I think I have a copy of that somewhere.
Of this?
You might have already given me a copy of it.
By this person here?
فضيلة الشيخ الدكتور فلاح بن إسماعيل مندكار. ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله.
I don't think you have that, Sheikh.
No, I guess I don't. I thought No, I'll take it off your hands, easy, no problem. Inshallah.
This is something new, man. It's something new, so I'm pretty sure you don't have it.
Okay, khalas. Maybe I have. I thought. Yeah. Okay. No, definitely, man, definitely. Even if you've given it to me already, I can give the other copy to someone else. But if I can't, I'll definitely take it off your hands.
No problem. I just picked it up Thursday for the first time, so I never gave it to you before. So
okay,
I'm pretty sure it's a brand new book. So I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's only a couple months old, so I'm pretty sure. Inshallah. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan to all our guests and viewers, and inshallah ta'ala we'll be back next week with some important fatawa. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.